Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Earthling Weight Loss. Thank you so much for tuning in again today. So today's video took a little bit longer to develop just because the topic is on ketosis. I knew a little bit beforehand about how ketosis worked and how ketones are utilized as an alternative fuel source in our bodies, but I wanted to make sure I really knew the ins and outs of why this diet is practiced as a means of weight loss. The findings from my own research inform me that this diet, like many other fad diets out there, is impossible to do long term without suffering health consequences. So in this video today, I'm going to discuss the history of a ketogenic diet, I'm going to talk about how it works in the body, I'm going to talk about Robert Atkins' version of the low-carb diet, as well as whether it actually works for weight loss and health. So first of all, what is a ketogenic diet? So the ketogenic diet was actually developed as an alternative therapy to drug therapy for the treatment of epilepsy. It was really popular in the 1920s and 30s, but as new anticonvulsant drugs were developed, it was largely abandoned. Russell Wilder at the Mayo Clinic defined a ketogenic diet as one that produced a large amount of ketones in the bloodstream. This was brought on by an excess of dietary fat and a lack of carbohydrates in one's diet. Wilder's colleague Minnie Peterman established the techniques for induction and maintenance of the diet, and documented the positive and adverse effects. The diet proved to be very successful among epileptic children. Peterman reported that in 1925, 95% of the 37 patients that went on this diet had improved seizure control, and 60% of these children actually became seizure-free. So we're going to fast forward about 30 years and we have American physician and cardiologist Dr. Robert Atkins. So it's said that during the earlier years of Dr. Atkins' medical practice, he gained a considerable amount of weight just from poor eating habits and stress. In 1963, he decides to go on this restrictive diet in order to lose weight. He based this personal dietary experiment on the research of Dr. Alfred Pennington, who recommended removing all starch and sugar from one's meals. So Dr. Atkins actually ended up having weight loss success on this diet. And so he designed a program called the Atkins Nutritional Approach, or just the Atkins diet for short, that made popular the concept of controlling carbohydrates and emphasizing dietary fat and protein as sources of fuel. He wrote several books that became national bestsellers, as the idea of eating fat to lose fat was a controversial but very popular idea. In 1998, Atkins founded the company Atkins Nutritionals to promote this high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet that over the years generated a revenue of over $100 million. Dr. Atkins referred to this type of eating as not just a diet, but a lifetime nutritional philosophy, with vitamin and mineral supplementation and increased exercise. The Atkins diet permits no more than 5 to 10% of the calories throughout your day coming from carbohydrate sources. The Atkins diet appealed to many, I kind of suspect, because people all of a sudden were being told that it was actually good for weight loss and good for your heart health to be eating these foods that one would traditionally think would be bad, like pork rinds, bacon, and eggs. Atkins suffered a cardiac arrest in April of 2002, leading many of his critics to point to this episode as proof that his diet high in saturated fat and cholesterol led to these heart problems. In numerous interviews, however, Atkins refuted this suspicion and said that his cardiac arrest was not caused by his diet, but instead by a chronic infection. So in April of the following year, 2003, Atkins fell on the icy pavement in New York City, suffering severe head trauma. He spent 9 days in the intensive care unit before passing away from complications from his head trauma. A medical report issued by the New York Medical Examiner's Office a year after his death showed that Atkins had a history of congestive heart failure, heart attack, hypertension, and noted that he weighed 258 pounds at the time of his death. A BMI measurement of Atkins' weight with his 6-foot frame reveals that his BMI was 35. A BMI of equal or greater than 35 kilograms per meter squared is classified as morbidly obese. Atkins was 72 years old when he died. His widow refused to allow an autopsy. The Atkins Foundation, his associates, and his widow all claimed that his heart disease had nothing to do with his diet. You know, I feel sympathy for his family and his friends and loved ones that had to deal with his death being such a traumatic experience. You know, it's very sad that he had to pass away in that manner. However, I personally feel that followers of the Atkins movements are sort of fooling themselves if they think that his heart disease was not related to this diet. Atkins had spent almost his entire medical career encouraging people to eat a diet high in fats and low in carbohydrates. He, his associates, his wife, and anyone else that was involved with him had a lot to lose financially and integrity-wise by acknowledging the fact that his diet caused his disease. I think that people need to open their eyes a little. We know that increased amounts of saturated fat and cholesterol in our diet increase our risk factors for disease. Dr. Atkins was a perfect model for showing how these dietary habits affect one's body. I'm not saying that Dr. Atkins was a bad person. I'm sure he was a doctor that just wanted to help people with their weight loss goals. And as I'll discuss later on in the video, ketosis and ketogenic diets do result in weight loss, but they also result in bad health. And as a doctor, I'm sure Dr. Atkins felt that he was helping his patients. However, there are a variety of ways to get to a healthy weight, and the Atkins way is the wrong way. Stick around, I'll be explaining this right away. So on a ketogenic diet, carbohydrates are restricted, and so they're not able to provide energy for all the body's needs. Instead, fatty acids are used as a major source of fuel. So these are utilized in fatty acid oxidation, which occurs in the cell's mitochondria. So humans can actually convert a certain percentage of amino acids into glucose via a process known as gluconeogenesis. But since amino acids are needed to make proteins, which are essential for the growth and repair of our tissues, we're not able to use amino acids solely for our glucose needs. However, the liver can actually convert fatty acids to ketone bodies. These include beta-hydroxybutyrate, acetoacetate, and acetone. These ketone bodies can enter your tissues and substitute for glucose. The brain can even meet half of its energy needs with these ketone bodies. So excess beta-hydroxybutyrate and acetoacetate are excreted via the urine, and then acetone, because of its volatile nature, it's actually exhaled from your lungs. This is why many people, when they're on a ketogenic diet, they may experience a slightly sweet flavor and smell to their breath. This is the acetone being exhaled. So do ketogenic diets actually confer weight loss? My answer is yes, but what is weight loss, right? I've talked about in other videos that, when you're looking on a commercial scale, you're only able to read a numerical value. It doesn't tell you whether the weight that you've lost is water, fat, muscle. There's just really no way of knowing. Low-carb diets are really popular because most people that go on them lose a lot of weight in a relatively short amount of time. This weight loss can be accounted for in 4 main ways. Carbohydrate depletion leading to water excretion, the ketones themselves being appetite suppressants, the high protein content being highly satiating and leading to reduced food intake, and then just the lack of variety in the diet itself, making it boring and discouraging people from eating. You may be thinking at this point, well, all these things don't really seem that bad. I mean, this is what the Atkins diet claims to do, weight loss without hunger. However, there are so many side effects associated with this diet. I'm going to read out some common symptoms that people experience, and it's really going to seem like an antidepressant commercial, where they spend like a few minutes or maybe like even a few seconds explaining the benefits of the drug, and then the rest of the commercial is dedicated to warning you of the side effects. There are way too many here to read off the top of my head, so I'm gonna just list them off as I read them here. Most of the people following the Atkins diet suffer adverse effects like constipation, fatigue, headaches, muscle cramps, diarrhea, and bad breath. Predictors of future health problems such as elevated cholesterol, BUN, uric acid, and free fatty acids are found with this diet. Dehydration, cardiac arrhythmias, kidney damage, kidney stones, liver, brain, and eye damage, and also death. Yeah, death. Halitosis, diarrhea, general weakness, and rashes are more often reported on low-carbohydrate diets than low-fat diets. Electrolyte and micronutrient deficiencies are common complaints. More serious complications include increased chance of gallbladder problems and bone fractures, especially in children. Menstrual irregularities often occur in women with potential impact on fertility. So that's just utterly ridiculous. You should not have to sacrifice your health for weight loss. There is a way to achieve both health and weight loss, and this is not the way. The Atkins diet works by making people sick. As I just mentioned, the followers of this diet experience reduced appetite, nausea, and fatigue, all symptoms of illness, which results in a reduced food intake. There are many ways to lose weight. You could take up hardcore drugs like cocaine and methamphetamine and lose weight, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be healthy doing that. Atkins promoters will try to minimize the impact of these negative findings by saying that the diet lowers triglyceride levels and increases HDL cholesterol, but both triglycerides and HDL cholesterol are of much less importance than total and LDL cholesterol in predicting future risk for developing heart disease. Some studies have even showed that the good cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, plays no role at all in predicting the condition of arteries. Researchers have also deceived the public by saying that they've compared the Atkins diet to low-fat diets, and that Atkins diet comes up on top. However, the low-fat diets that are being compared aren't actually low-fat. 30% of the calories are coming from fat. I would define a low-fat diet as 10% or less. 30% is pretty close to what people normally eat anyway. The average fat consumption in America is 33%. So yes, I guess it's sort of truthful to say that low fat of 30% is less than 33%, but 30% is in no way low fat. There's also more to the story too. People on a low-fat diet were also on a calorie-restricted diet, which has definitely been shown time and time again to have a consistent history of failure. You should never try to lose weight by calorie restricting. The fact is, eating fat and cholesterol in your diet puts you at an increased risk of developing and dying from heart disease, strokes, kidney disease, and peripheral vascular diseases. All honest, major health organizations, doctors, and scientists all agree on this fact. And all well-designed studies show that total cholesterol and bad LDL cholesterol increase on the Atkins diet. A 2004 study showed that LDL cholesterol increased by more than 10% in over 30% of all participants, and that homocysteine, another important predictor of heart disease, also increased. So yes, ketosis and low-carb diets do result in weight loss. I'll be the first to acknowledge that. However, is this weight loss true fat loss? No. Is this diet the best approach for health? No way. And can this diet be done long-term without health consequences? No, it just can't. I'd like to share a little quote that I sort of created inspired by the people that I look up to and the things that they've said. It is your choice whether you decide to eat to die, to eat to live, or to eat to thrive. What this means is that some people right now are very ignorant and unknowledgeable of what sort of foods are going to be doing positive things in their body. And these people may never realize, until it's too late, that their diet has caused their disease. This is how I think about Robert Atkins. He was eating to die, even though he thought differently. Some people eat to live, where they know what they're capable of just getting by on. They want to lose weight and they think that they have to cut calories in order to do so. And so they just eat the bare minimum and they never will reach their true health potential. And some people are able to eat to thrive, where they meet their caloric needs, they exceed those needs in order to have an abundance of energy to tackle their everyday goals. This is the way that I recommend people to eat. And fortunately, this way also will help you lose weight. The lifestyle that I'm talking about is called a low-fat, high-carbohydrates, whole foods, plant-based diet, which is a really long way of just defining a very simplistic way of eating. This lifestyle will help you achieve true, long-standing health and weight loss. It'll improve your digestion and speed up your metabolism and make you feel and look your best without the need to cut calories or make you ill. Please, stop yourself today from falling into another fad diet that is harmful to your health. So I'd love to hear from you guys whether you've ever done a ketogenic diet. What was your experience? Did you witness any of the symptoms that I listed? What sort of weight loss were you able to get out of it? And were you able to retain this weight loss? Have you switched to a high carbohydrate diet? And what are the differences that you've noticed? Write your experience down below in the comment section. If you found this video helpful and informative, please like and share. It is very important to me to get this information out to people that are trying to make good decisions for their health. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I do videos on science topics and pop culture and some random stuff as well. Thank you for tuning in again today, guys. I really appreciate it. Have an abundant day, Earthlings, and see you next video. Bye.